and tricks that you've learned over time in the chat. And then in the Q&A, we're going to reserve that for any questions you have for me that I will get to at the end of this presentation. So my goal is to take you through creating a brain healing environment. And this is based on what I've learned from my clinical practice as well as what we've learned at Marama. So what I've seen with the Bredesen protocol is essentially that nearly everyone can prevent and certainly prevent, and many people can reverse dementia. And I believe that Alzheimer's is optional. And that's based on what I've seen clinically and at Marama. We had exciting news last week from 3 months ago, from September to December, every single resident at Marama improved their cognitive function measurably. So that's the first time it's happened for everyone in the house. Typically there's something that comes up for somebody, and sometimes people like stay the same or slide back a little bit. It's never a linear one direction journey. But this time, every single person at Marama was better. And so we don't have a lot of space. We've only got the 12 beds at Marama in San Diego, and then we have another 14 beds that are opening up in Wichita, Kansas, that we're so excited about. If you're interested in that, go to maramaexperience.com and go to that Apply Now page. But we've only got these 26 beds, 26 rooms available for people. And we're seeing these incredible results. Now, it's not easy, and that's part of why we created Marama, is it's a place where you get the immersive support that you need to implement. But what I really want is for places like Marama to not even be needed, so that people can stay home. They can stay with their families in their own communities, keep working if they want, keep playing with their grandkids, and not be in a senior living facility. And so that's why I'm bringing you the Marama at Home course and doing these webinars so you can get a sense of how to do this at home. So the Bredesen approach, it takes work. It takes a lot of work. And it's hard for people with full cognitive capacity to change their diet, their exercise habits, their sleep habits, all of these things, their environment, that are necessary to get the benefits out of the Bredesen protocol. So we're going to go through this and get you, really, ultimately, like, there's lots of levels of this, but tonight I want you to have a takeaway around what you can do today to change your environment to make it a more healing environment. Okay, so this is just a picture of me at the Marama Open House. I want you to understand a little bit about who I am. Many of you know me from the summit, from the Reverse Alzheimer's Summit, where I have the privilege of interviewing lots and lots of experts on the cutting edge of reversing dementia and supporting brain health. And then my personal story is that I am a naturopathic doctor, and I have Solsere, the clinic, Solsere, like solutions for the brain, or shining light, like soul sun, shining light on the brain and learning about why people are having this cognitive decline and what we can do about it from a very healthy perspective, a regenerative and holistic perspective. And then at Marama, we have the residential care facility for the elderly that's an immersive experience in this Bredesen approach. So Dr. Bredesen was my partner on the Reverse Alzheimer's Summit, as was Dr. Perlmutter, and he is also a mentor of mine who trained me how to use this protocol. So we use that protocol at the clinic at Solsere, and then at Marama at the residential care facility. We also did a clinical trial in my office where we took 23 participants and measured this. And what we saw is that about 75% of the time, if the MoCA score is between 12 and 23, a MoCA score is the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. It's a perfect score is out of 30. So these are people with measurable cognitive decline between 12 and 23. And what we saw is that about 75% of the time, they get better. Now, what keeps people from getting better that 25% of the time? Typically, it's that they just didn't do it. Now, why not? It's because it's challenging. And so I am here to make sure as many people as possible get the benefit of this approach by giving you the tools that you need to implement this at home. So a brief story about Marlene. Marlene is amazing. She came into my office about 1.5 years ago, and she has no children, and her siblings had passed away. I think one maybe is still living and has Alzheimer's, but she had a couple of cousins who were living up in LA in a senior living facility. And to get into that senior community, she couldn't have any measurable cognitive decline. She couldn't have any dementia. And she was already starting to notice her memory slipping. And so she was aware of her cognitive decline. She also, her house felt like an overwhelming mess. She hadn't been able to file her taxes. Things were kind of spiraling out of control. She couldn't take care of herself. And the only thing she wanted was just to be eligible to move into that senior living facility so she can be with her cousins, the people, her family that she was closest to. And she was terrified of dying alone and of succumbing to a disease like Alzheimer's without options and without loved ones around. And so she came to me feeling very desperate. And if I had had a readiness score, I would have told you that Marlene was not ready to take this on. She was living alone. She was struggling with measurable cognitive decline, significant measurable cognitive decline. And I was really concerned that she wouldn't be able to kind of take the bull by the horns and do everything that we were suggesting she do. But she surprised me in the best way possible. Her MoCA score went from a 23 to a 29, and she got her taxes done. She got her house cleaned up, and she decided she wants nothing to do with senior living. In fact, she's now dating and thrifting and out and about and living her life fully and not afraid of growing old alone because she's not dependent on other people. She has her full independence back. And this was so exciting for me to see because we gave her support. We did give her support. We were chatting with her multiple times a week. We were there for her, giving her really individualized care and attention, but we weren't in her house and she wasn't living in our house like Marama. And this just showed me, Marlene's success showed me how this is possible for so many people who I thought maybe didn't have access to it. With some extra support, with good community, and with enough kind of just like grit, so many people can get the benefit of this protocol. So at Marama, I think of what we do there as there being 4 pillars: the organic ketogenic diet, which we're going to talk about in January. So make sure you sign up for that webinar. That's always a fun one. That's always where the most questions come. And it's certainly a place where I see the biggest impact in people's health. Tonight, we're here talking about a healing environment. And a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about brain healing activities. And then in the future, we'll also have webinars on that exceptional approach to care that really changes how our residents and my patients respond to this approach. So these 4 pillars there's a lot here. We're not going to go through all of it, but I'm going to get you as much just a high value takeaway tonight as possible. And I also want to let you know that if this is feeling overwhelming, just know that there is additional support. And I wasn't planning to do more of these coaching calls, but they are so much fun. I learned so much from them. And then the people who were there were 2 groups of 25 this past fall, and the people who are in them, I just love getting to know everybody, learning what everyone's questions and challenges are, and then seeing them get these benefits of the protocol at home. So what we're doing is creating, a community where you get that accountability. I'll hold your feet to the fire. I'll make sure that you're getting on that ketogenic diet, that you're changing your environment, that you're getting the exercise and the activities. We'll make sure that you have access to me. I'm no longer taking new patients. So this is the only way, if you were not already an established patient, this is the only way to get access directly to me. Ask me your questions. We limit the class size to 25. So you get all of your questions answered, including the ones that you didn't know you had because somebody else is asking them. And then the inspiration, we had people this last round, they were like, I didn't get on keto because you said to do it, Dr. Sanderson. I did it because I watched other people come alive, become more present and articulate better, find their language again. And watching other people improve was so inspiring to them that they then were willing to make those big changes. And then you get that community. It's incredible. And people are keeping in touch and sharing tips and tricks. And I think community is such a big piece of the healing puzzle. And of course, support from me, support from my team at Solsere and Marama, and then support from each other, from the community. Okay, so healing environment. So I want you to take out a pen and paper and think through your environment. So where you are right now, it doesn't, sometimes it's easy to get into this, like, oh, if I lived in this other house, or if somebody else was here, what, all of that. But just think about it the way it is right now. And think through your outdoor space, and it might be cold and snowing out there right now, but just think through the outdoor space that you have access to, the living room space that you're in, the bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, laundry, if you have a library or a sitting area or something like that. Think through the areas in your home where you spend a lot of time. And is there anything right away that jumps out at you as something that you already know you could change to make that environment more healing? And if so, please throw it in the chat. Let us know. Let us know what you've noticed is something that could be improved. Something you already know about. Maybe you're inspired to do already. And my hope is that I'll kind of push you over the edge today, and you'll make that change that will be really healing for you. Environment, when it comes to dementia, is such a big deal, because those of us who don't have dementia, who have full cognitive capacity, if we're in an environment that we don't like, that we're not inspired by, that we're not engaged by, we can easily grab the keys and get in the car and go somewhere else. If someone with dementia is in an unhealthy, non-healing environment, they don't have the ability to change it. So we need to think for them. We need to use our brains for them to support them, so that they can be in a really healing environment. Clutter, 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 clutter. I love it. You guys are steps ahead of me. Joyce, Elizabeth, Paula, Maureen. I love it. You guys are, Sally. I'm so excited to see you already talking about decluttering, because this really is a big deal especially for folks with dementia, because every time we see a countertop full of clutter, it feels like there's a to-do list, right? It's like this weight on our shoulders that there's something left to do. And when we can create that nice space that's free of clutter, it just takes that weight off. I love that Patty's adding soft lighting, sunshine through the windows, and music. Awesome. So starting to engage some of those senses and think through that. Okay, great. So this is already a phenomenal start. You guys are so on it and so ahead. And what we will, oops, sorry, there's a few layers of things to get through here. All right. So what we'll do is just talk through some of the things to consider in each of these spaces. So of course, safety is one of them that comes up always, but also non-toxic. So this can refer to cleaning products, and I'm going to go through some ideas, but we want to think about creating a non-toxic environment. With toxicity, the first thing that a good environmental medicine doctor does is thinks, how do we avoid any new toxic exposure? And this is by making sure we have clean organic food, clean water, and we're not spraying chemicals. We don't have air fresheners and stuff like that plugged in. That if we're using anything for smell, like, we want to think through our senses. So the scents that we want to smell are either coming from the kitchen or natural scents, like good high quality essential oils. Not like a Glade plug-in is highly neurotoxic. We want to incorporate nature, which we already had someone discuss that or mention that. Patty was mentioning sunshine through the windows and soft lighting, natural lighting. So incorporating nature can be very calming for the nervous system, right? And so many times someone with dementia, they're confused, right? And adding layers of confusion with clutter or with big, loud, kind of scary art or something like that. Not having nature to calm the system can be kind of confusing, and we can get a lot out of that. Sometimes this is just as simple as putting your breakfast table right up next to the window so that you can see outside, and maybe putting a bird feeder that attracts hummingbirds, something like that, so that you can incorporate nature, or having an abstract landscape as art instead of something that doesn't feel quite as natural, or maybe like a cityscape might not feel as natural. Incorporating as much natural light as possible, and even red light. So red light can be calming. Red light can help with circadian rhythm, particularly in the morning and in the evening. So incorporating either natural light, full spectrum light, or red light can be helpful. And then getting rid of the extra blue light, like from screens, TVs, computers, phones, iPads, that kind of thing. We talked about uncluttered, safe and uncluttered. You may even start to think about taking throw rugs and getting rid of anything that becomes a trip hazard, right? This clutter sometimes contributes to that potential for tripping and falling. And so especially if anyone's using a walker or a cane, we want to get rid of anything on the ground that is going to create a trip hazard. Okay, so then going back to our senses, we have what we can see, which is that clutter, right? That clutter that's going to feel like a great big to-do list. And then we have what we can hear. So either quiet, soothing sounds, or as was already mentioned, music. Music is phenomenal and really helps anyone with dementia often go back to feeling like they have complete cognitive awareness, because especially if you choose music of the era that they appreciate and enjoy and are familiar with, sometimes the last thing to go as someone progresses through dementia is that sense of rhythm and the words to songs. So you'll hear that someone in over 100 years old with dementia will remember every word to Jingle Bells. We just had Christmas, and those Christmas songs people have often sung their entire lives, and they're very familiar with them. So the Sound of Music is a musical we'll play at Marama, and the ladies get so excited about that, and again sing along to many of those songs. Elvis, the Beatles, these are things that people are, of course, we're thinking through their lens, the music that they're most attached to. And oftentimes there's an emotion or a memory that they'll share that's associated with those songs. And then, of course, having natural sounds like the sound of waves or a babbling brook or the sound of wind through the trees. These can also be things that'll help kind of calm the energy down, help people feel more comfortable. Comfort, so touch. So we talked about sight, what you can hear, a little bit about what you can smell, and then what you can touch and feel. We want to use natural. However, you don't want to use so this is often talking about fabrics on chairs or couches. We have gone to 100% leather at Marama, and that's because we want to be able to clean it. So if there's a bathroom accident on a microfiber couch, even though that microfiber is nice and feels so good, it is kind of a disaster and ruins the furniture. So we have moved away from any fabric, and we just use leather now, and occasionally vinyl, but we really try to stick with the natural fabrics. And you don't want to use prints. So like if you have a chair, a fabric chair that has, say, a floral print on it, this can be kind of confusing to people with dementia. They sometimes think those flowers are there and they want to pick them up. And so having furniture that doesn't have a lot of pattern on it is a little easier for folks with dementia. Also, you want to avoid any black on the ground. Sometimes this is perceived as a hole and can be kind of scary for people. So making sure that if you are considering rugs or something like that at the front door or somewhere like that, you use a lighter color or something that matches the floor itself so that no one starts to perceive that as a hole. Again, those natural scents, so you're smelling essential oils or the nice smells from the kitchen, that is really helpful, but you want to avoid any unnatural scents. Some people say, oh, but I love pine sol, but it is a very unnatural scent. If you want pine essential oil, that's a great way to go, but not pine sol. It's neurotoxic. Those unnatural scents, they go through our olfactory nerve, go to our brain, and our brain goes, does not compute. We haven't evolved in the presence of those types of scents. And so you want to, those chemically engineered scents you want to avoid. Few distractions. So especially if you want to have conversation with your loved one who has dementia, you really want to limit the distractions, right? Turn off the phones or at least put them on silent. Make sure that if there's a yapping dog, that dog is outside or in a different room, so it's not coming in and out while you're trying to communicate and engage with someone with dementia. for all of us, right? I certainly know if I'm in the middle of a project with work and someone knocks on my door or calls, or I get distracted by a text message or an email notification, it takes effort to then refocus on what I was doing. And that's true for all of us, right? This has been measured and published in the scientific literature. For someone with dementia, that effort is so much greater. And the amount it takes to distract is so much smaller. And so we want to bear that in mind as we create these healing environments, especially if we're looking to connect and engage. Then air quality is another thing to consider. Again, a non-toxic environment means clean air to breathe. And we're here in Southern California, thank God. We haven't had a bad fire season for a couple of years. But in the past, we have had really horrible air quality that there's really just nothing that it's outside of our control. And so what we do inside the house, we of course close all the doors and windows, run the air conditioning, but we also run the GC Multi by IQ Air. And this is the one, it's the one that is recommended for hospitals. I recommend this most often because I have had patients who are sensitive to mold, sensitive to dust, sensitive to lots of things in the air. And when they plug this in, it makes a big difference. Not all of them do. It comes with a price tag. It's about $1,200, so it's definitely not free. However, if you live near a freeway, if you are concerned about mold, or if you're at all concerned about environmental pollutants in the house, if you're in a fire zone, then I think that this is well worth investing in to keep down that toxicity that can then affect the brain. Okay. So then just kind of thinking through these different rooms and different areas where we spend time. This is a picture from Marama. Our gardens have grown in since this picture was taken. So we've got lots of fun veggies in the garden. Each resident has a plot of their own where they get to pick what they want to plant and then harvest it and get involved in the kitchen. It's really fun. So when we think through outdoor environment like this path is quite steep, and you can see there's no railing here. There's a railing there now to make it much safer, to avoid those falls and trip hazards. For a while, it was really scary for residents to try to get down there, and it was scary for staff. So we weren't going down there, but now that railing is there, they're good to go. There's something to hang on to. So is it safe? Is it easy? We're going to do the things that are easy. This comes from, actually I have the book right behind me, from James Clear's work, Atomic Habits, How We Create Habits. Making things easy is going to make it more likely that you're going to engage in that activity. So if it's easy to get outside, if it's comfortable outside, if it's the right temperature, if there's shade when you need it, if there are chairs, comfortable chairs to sit down in, there's something fun and engaging that I enjoy doing, it's going to be much more likely that you will do it. And of course, I encourage people to spend time outside. That connection to nature, that is so healing for the brain. And oftentimes, we see at Marama, we have residents who have spent their lives gardening and they love it. And it gives them this opportunity to contribute, to share with us, oh, you want to plant the geraniums by the cucumbers because it'll keep the bugs away. They can share their wisdom and experience with us in a way that helps them feel purposeful. So highly encourage that. Love the benefit of that. All right, the living room. So again, we learned our lesson. This is a microfiber couch that was at Marama. This did get ruined, and so we have replaced it with a leather couch. But comfort and aesthetic, pleasing sights and feels. That's what we were looking for. And also considering technology in the living room. Many folks in their 80s and 90s, they just don't understand technology in the way that people in their teens and 20s certainly will. And so if we have some complicated, iPad that we're expecting them to use and engage in, it's probably not going to work. If there's a complicated remote, or if it takes a lot of technology to get something working, to turn on the music or something like that, it's going to be harder to get people to engage. So remember that when we go to use technology, typically we want to keep things pretty low tech in this population. Again, in the living room, What are the comforts? Is it comfortable to be there, or is the couch sticky, or is it too small or too short or too soft or too hard? We want to make sure it's comfortable. What are the sights? What do you see visually? Again, going back to clutter. Is there a Zen-like environment where you can feel at ease and relaxed? What are the sounds? What are the smells? What is the feel? And then, of course, what's easy? We're going to do those things that are easy. So if there are games and books and art activities and socializing to do, that is great. That's going to make it much more easy to do those things that are good for the brain. If it's easy to just pick up the remote and turn on the TV, then that's probably going to be the default. And TV rots your brain. It does not help us get that engagement because we can just check out. And so we want to avoid that. What we've done at Marama is we have a TV, but it is behind closed doors to the cabinet. And we really only use it for musicals. Sometimes if it's new, if there's an election or a Super Bowl or something, of course, we'll use it for big events. And then we'll play music and there will be a crackling fire on it or kittens or something kind of sweet and fun. All right, then the bedroom. So I'll share, we love my green mattress is what I've switched to. We have avocado mattresses, so organic, non-toxic mattresses. We spend a ton of time on our mattresses, right? A third of our lives we spend in bed. And so we want to invest in really good, high quality mattresses because not only do they off gas, they can also potentially get moldy, and then it can affect structure or create chronic pain if we don't have a good mattress. So we want to invest in a really good, high quality mattress. And then bedding, we use organic cotton every single time. And we use Kayuchi or Target are our favorites. Target always has organic cotton sheets available and they get softer and softer every time you wash them. I love them. So then thinking through light, is there light in your bedroom that might prevent you from getting a high quality sleep? Can you consider blackout curtains? Can you get it dark? What about red light? Some people claim to sleep better if they are exposed to red light all night. You may even consider in your bathroom, or if you have a night light in your bedroom or bathroom, using something with a red bulb rather than something that has any blue in it, or at the very least, maybe that oranger spectrum, so that it's not interrupting your sleep as much if you need to get up and use the restroom. And then again, sounds. So are you being awoken by sound? Is there a way to mitigate that? What can we do so that you are getting high quality sleep for as much of it as you need? Kitchen environment. So this is always exciting. Safety, of course, is number one. So safety in the kitchen is going to be primarily knives and fire. And if there is someone with dementia in your life, things can go wrong quickly. And so we want to make sure that they're set up. Sometimes it's as easy as taking the knobs off or getting behind the oven and actually unplugging it if somebody's not going to be there. Really, the kitchen can get scary. And so if someone with dementia does not have round-the-clock 24-hour care, then this can be a place where lots of accidents can happen. As we think about prevention and also, of course, treatment, and certainly what we do at Marama, food storage and cookware is a place where we can potentially be exposed to toxins. And so getting away from plastic, if you take nothing else away from tonight, front-loading washing machines, gotta go. You always want to use top-loading, and no plastic in the kitchen, especially for food storage. So I don't even, my poor mom comes to town, she's like, where are your Ziplocs? I don't have them. I don't use them. If I need to store any food, anything, I put it into a glass Pyrex container. Now there's silicone or plastic on the top, but the food isn't in touch with that. I don't put anything in the microwave. I have a toaster oven, and it's a toaster oven air fryer that I use. It's stainless steel, none of the plastic. Don't heat any food in plastic. Stay away from plastic. If it's, takeout containers, styrofoam especially. Styrofoam is another level of toxicity. It's actually outlawed in my area of California. We don't do any styrofoam. Not only is it bad for you, it's bad for the environment, it doesn't break down, but plastic too. You never ever want to heat food in plastic, whether it's takeout or what you store things in at home. Just try to eliminate even saran wrap, heating in the microwave with saran wrap. Never, ever, ever again. Don't do that because you're essentially eating plastic. Same thing with plastic bottles. You want to avoid plastic water bottles and make sure you have good good, clean, filtered water. I recommend the Mountain Valley spring water. That's my favorite one. And that's what we use at the clinic at Marama, and then that I use at home. So no plastic. For cookware, I use stainless steel or cast iron. There are question marks around ceramic. I know that there are some, there are well-marketed brands out there. I just don't know. I feel confident with stainless or cast iron. Of course, stay away from aluminum and plastic. And then the Corelle is a glass type of dishware that doesn't chip. It's really easy to use, and that is totally inert and non-toxic. So that's another great way to do it, because sometimes the ceramics, even like coffee cups and stuff, if they're made in China or in Mexico, they can have lead in the glazes. And so you want to avoid that as much as possible and look for things like that Corelle that is a glass material that's non-toxic. And then you probably already know that I'm a huge proponent of the ketogenic diet. So the ketogenic diet can be challenging, especially in those first few days when you're getting into ketosis. If you are working with a loved one, if you're a care partner for someone with dementia, the best way that you can care for them, if your plan is to get them into a ketosis, is to not have anything in the kitchen, especially that's visible, especially on the countertops, especially easily within reach, or in the pantry at eye level. Anything that is going to kick them out of ketosis, nothing available, right? So even if you're not getting into ketosis, they may forget what's on the ketogenic diet and what's not. So if they see a banana or an apple, they're going to pick it up and potentially eat it. Certainly a cookie, something else that looks tantalizing and lovely and yummy, they're going to pick that up and eat it. And so we want to make sure that in the kitchen, there is nothing available and visible that isn't on the ketogenic diet. I know, super simple, but a lot of times we just forget. At Marama, we had an issue with this at one point. There were apples out, and of course they look delicious, and people are craving carbs, especially in those first few days going into ketosis. So, and they don't necessarily know or remember what is on that diet. So then cleaning products, we use Branch Basics, we use the essential oil or EO company, and then just going back to basics like vinegar, alcohol, rubbing alcohol, lemon, baking soda. These are all hydrogen peroxide. These are all great ways to keep the kitchen sterile, clean, and you don't need to be using super toxic things like bleaches or, again, the pine sols, all of that stuff. We can use really good, high quality, or just like the low tech, what your grandma used to use kind of products to avoid that toxic exposure. The bathroom, kind of similar with the cleaning products. Again, towels are all organic cotton. And then another thing to consider are the personal care products. So shampoos, lotions, conditioners, makeups, the soaps, hand soaps. Again, we like that EO or that essential oil company. This is there's a small picture of the soap there. And I tend to do unscented, or we will do a little, we'll do a little bit of essential oil, like a lemon verbena or a lavender, something calming, as long as people aren't too irritated by that. And then Dr. Bronner's is the Castile soap that we love as well and use a lot of that. This was the other takeaway. This is not at Marama because we do not use front-loading washing machines. These collect mold around that rubber gasket on the front. And it is almost impossible to prevent that. You can leave it open and you can dry it out. There are some ways to do it, but I recommend just avoiding these completely and just get a top-loading washer that doesn't have that rubber gasket that collects mold. So that is my recommendation. Also remembering to we use unscented detergents. I really like BioClean, easily available on like Amazon. And then any new clothing, new bedding, anything that's going to come in contact with your skin, they put fungicides, they put chemicals on. Even like the organic stuff it has pesticide on it so that it doesn't get eaten alive while those fabrics are in storage on their way to either be turned into your sheets or jeans or whatever, or when they're being stored before they're sold. So making sure that you wash everything to get rid of some of that residue before wearing it or sleeping on it is ideal. All right, so I want to make sure, again, We have these 4 pillars of Marama, and I want you to understand how you can get more support if you want it. So what I've done is just giving you a snippet tonight. I hope that you got some great takeaways. I would love for you to say in the chat, what are you committed to changing? What clutter are you willing to get rid of? What are you committed to doing? Tell everyone. We're much more likely to accomplish these goals. I think if you consider a goal and you don't write it down, you're about 30%, you have a 30% chance of achieving that goal. The second you write it down in your handwriting, not typing it, but writing it down in your handwriting, it goes to 60%. And when you share it with others, you get close to 90% chance that you are going to achieve that goal. So write this down, share it in the chat, tell me what you are going to change in your environment to make it healthier for yourself or for a loved one. And tell us why, share your why, tell us why you're here. So Marama at Home is the 11-module caregiver training course, and this is available to anyone for $497. You just go to maramaathome.com, easy peasy, and you will have access to pre-recorded lessons, modules about all of the pieces of what we do at Marama, giving you a lot more tools for how to get the most out of visits with your Bredesen trained doctor or not Bredesen trained, how to understand the supplements you're taking, what questions to ask, and then also, of course, those 4 pillars we spend a ton of time describing: sleep routines, morning routines, other things that can help you get the most out of the Bredesen course. So that is available. And tonight, this is essentially the last time that there is going to be access for this price. So 12 weeks of live coaching with me, plus a Facebook group, a very, it's a tight-knit Facebook group where you get that community. This is only $19.97, but only until the 31st. So this is not going to last. These prices are going up in January. So you don't have to sit in confusion about what to do around the Bredesen protocol. I know it's a lot. I get it. I watch people struggle. You do not have to sit in confusion ever again. You can get access to me, access to the community, lots of people there to answer your questions, to share what they've been through. And there's a money back guarantee. So this is completely risk-free. I will be giving this to you completely risk-free, 30 days, full risk-free. If you decide this isn't the right program for you, no questions asked, you get your money back, full refund. You just have to jump on this today to lock this in because that price is going away. So don't wait. So this is me in my office. You'll be on live coaching calls with me, and plus you'll get the benefit of everybody else in that community. This is really, really exciting. I want to make sure this is the right fit for you. So don't forget, like if you decide it's not, no questions asked, you get your money back. So the private Facebook group, you can, I have times when I am awake in the middle of the night with a question for one of my mentors or somebody I'm learning from, and I just pop it into an email or into the Facebook group. And sometimes before my mentor even gets a chance to respond, I've gotten great answers, great feedback from that community. It's so, so, so valuable, other insights and ideas. And so this has been a lot of fun, and you will be invited into that. And you will also get a one-on-one kickoff call with me. I love these. I have so much fun on these. They are such a treat because I get to know you personally and what your unique situation is. So don't worry about, do I have enough? Am I in the right spot? Am I doing this right? You're going to get a one-on-one call with me, especially if you don't love sharing in the group. Usually by the time we get a few weeks in, everybody's happy to share. We all feel like family, and that's easy and fun. But we get a kickoff call where I get to understand your unique experience and give you some tips for addressing your challenges. And like I said, I'm no longer taking new patients. So this is the only way to get a call with me if you're not already a patient. And then you get this priceless community partner. community, excuse me, you get accountability partners. That's what I was trying to say. Soulmates, you meet people who you'll meet up with later on. This is a community that is dedicated to reversing Alzheimer's just like you are. And so instead of bumping up against the wall of like, oh, I'm trying to do this with my mom and everybody tells me it's not going to work, you're going to be surrounded by people who are like, no, I've been doing this and it's already working. And that's the kind of encouragement and community that everyone needs. So, I just got back from Costa Rica where I was in one of the blue zones where there's a higher concentration of centenarians or people who live over 100 years. And one of the really fun things that I noticed is it's very hilly and there are stairs and steps everywhere. They're like made out of beautiful rock and stone. But to get to the restaurant, you go upstairs. To get back to your room, you go downstairs. To get to the beach, you go up and downstairs. There are stairs everywhere. And it's a way to just keep people exercising and keep them strong without even having to think about it. And when you surround yourself with community where everyone, it's kind of just a given that you're getting exercise and you're getting into ketosis, you're not having to explain yourself all the time. That's what we see in these blue zones. There's this priceless community where everyone's engaged in healthy behavior, healthy activity, plus they have the support of each other. That is what makes them live long, healthy, happy lives. And so we can get some of that through this, and I'm excited to share it with you. So you get the Marama at Home course, coaching with me, the private Facebook group, the one-on-one kickoff call with me. And all of this totals up to well over $7,000. And we are giving this away for $19.97 right now. So just go to maramathome.com/webinar. And you never have to sit in confusion again. Secure your spot. We already have, I think we cap it at 25, and I think we have 18 people signed up. So we just have a few more spots available in that one. We'll create 2 of them if we need to. I would love to have 50 people sign up and have 2 groups of 25 again. It's so much fun and people get so much out of it. Some of the feedback from Shelly, she said, this has been a blessing already. I got through the crisis and now we are moving into restoring autonomy and finding balance in my relationship with mom and routine at home. Having the summit plus Marama at Home plus the coaching has given us the resources to know what steps to take next and put the knowledge to work at home. And that's from Shelly. From Richard, the program is brilliant. It's already started helping me to get more organized and prioritize the list of things to do. My days are already different. We are both doing the meditation daily now, and it's working. I feel so much better. From Peter, I love the questions from other people on the coaching calls. I get answers to questions I didn't even realize I had. That's some of the feedback we hear most frequently, is getting those answers to the questions you didn't know you had, because other people going through a similar experience are asking them. We sold out on the first group and we already have 18 people signed up for this second. Well, we've sold out the 50 on the first 2. We have 18 people signed up this time. And I want everyone to get the support they need to be feeling their best this spring. So we had 55,000 people register for the summit. You guys showed up tonight. And so we want to make sure that you have access to this course. And we're going to then send it out to the rest of the list and make sure that they know about it. So let us know what questions you have. We want to make sure that you are getting the benefit of the Bredesen protocol. So if you are someone who wants to help other people, like Denise, her mom suffered with dementia, and she is an interior designer, and she's helped people think about how to design a home with aging in mind. She thinks a lot about the things that we discussed tonight. So she did the course not only to help herself prevent dementia, but to learn more about how she can incorporate these Bredesen ideas into designing homes people can age in place in. Really exciting, really fun stuff. It was such a pleasure to have Denise involved. And she shared the week that we talked about environment. She was able to share from her experience and really add a lot of wisdom to the group and be a resource for other people in the community. Mary and her husband, Jim, they had plans to travel the world when he retired, and they were very concerned about her mom. Her mom was declining, and Mary was also starting to notice some cognitive decline. And the thought of getting on a plane, leaving her mom, arranging travel was so overwhelming. And they had plans to see the Great Wall of China and go see friends in Scotland, and they wanted to see Machu Picchu. And right now they have done the reverse Alzheimer's Marama at home course, and they are starting to feel better and better. They also have a caregiver who is trained, who is helping mom out. And so they're feeling better about leaving mom at home so that they can go enjoy the travel that they've worked so hard for and that they've looked forward to for so long. So if you want that freedom to be able to travel again, I can't wait to share these ideas with you. It is, it really is such a privilege, because I know that Mary and Jim, they are going to enjoy the travel. They're going to have more stamina and more energy because they're doing all of these things that are optimizing their full health, not just reversing the cognitive decline, but helping with blood sugar management and energy levels and better sleep and better mood. They're getting the benefits of a healthier, yes, brain healthy life, but a healthier life in general. And that is so exciting to see, because it's going to mean that they can hike that extra mile and see that extra view and enjoy each other in a way that they couldn't have if they weren't making these really healthy decisions. So many people tell me that they're inspired to do this because they don't want their kids to suffer the way they did as they cared for their parent with dementia. So Lisa joined this course after going through that, the hell, the torture that is caring for someone with dementia, and that long goodbye of the personality changes and the struggles and the loss of dignity. And she watched her mom struggle to take care of her dad. And then Lisa ended up taking over when it got to be too much for her mom. And she doesn't want the same for her children. She has 2 daughters and a son, and they have children, and she wants them to be able to focus on their kids, not focus on her as a dependent. And she notices she wasn't as sharp as she once was. It was stressful taking care of her dad. And since he passed away, she's really looking at what does life look like next. And she has ApoE34, so she has some genetic risk, and she knows she needs to work hard. And so she's going the extra mile. She did the course, and she is getting tons of support from it. She's one of those people who felt much more engaged after getting into ketosis, and really a pleasure to see. And I'm so excited that she feels like she's doing everything she can to prevent what happened to her dad and what happened really to her from happening to her kids. Oh, Nora is someone who I saw as a patient, and she has a grandson, Tyler, who it was a sweet story. I mean, obviously emotional, but Tyler, her grandson, had cancer as a baby, and she didn't know if he would make it through that. Obviously, that was a very stressful experience for their family. And now he's in college, and she wants to be there to watch him walk across that stage. And he's a freshman up at Oregon State University studying science and forestry. He loves nature and being outside. And she is so excited to see him living out his dreams. And of course, the dreams that the family had for Tyler. I'm just so excited for Nora, because I feel confident. She's younger. She's on the younger side. She's in her 60s. And I feel confident that she will not only be able to see him walk across the stage, but I really hope that she gets to meet her great-grandchildren and engage with them and appreciate them and know them, not as somebody who's cognitively declined, but as somebody who can be fully present with those kiddos. So this is what Marama at Home looks like. This is the caregiver training course you will go into. And then each week we're going to send you when you're in the course, when you get on the coaching Q&A, we're going to go through the activities for each of those weeks. And we'll send you ahead of time the worksheets to fill out, let you know what's coming, give you resources, give you support and little nudges to get it done so you can get the most out of it. And you're going to learn from me. I'm going to give you the exact steps, help you prioritize, get you the specific instructions so that you can learn to do this Bredesen Marama lifestyle at home. So you'll do the exercises in the module as a group, and then we'll answer tons of questions because lots of them come up. So it'll be live Q&A. You can send questions ahead of time. We'll prioritize that. It's always a good time. I look forward to these calls so much. I get so much from them. They totally fill my soul. And I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to do this. And you guys are the inspiration, the people who show up, who are doing the hard work to care for their loved ones. It really is just an absolute privilege to work with you, and you really are the inspiration. Every time we hear from someone who is getting benefit from this, I just get more and more excited and more inspired to support more people, change the narrative around this, and make sure that you have the tools to implement this, because the suffering, so much of it doesn't have to happen. So thank you for doing the hard work. Okay, I'm going to jump into the Q&A now. Can you tell me a little bit about how the program works for the in-home caregiving class you're starting in January? Okay, so Rebecca, I hope that I told you enough of that. Let me know if you have other specific questions, and you can absolutely email Maryam, M-A-R-Y-A-M. Maryam, if you could throw your email into the webinar chat. Rebecca, if you have any questions, go ahead and email Maryam@solsaria.com, and we can answer those for you. The name from Marlene, what is the name of the air cleaner for the home? It's called the IQ Air, or IQ Air, excuse me, is the name of the brand, and it's the GC Multigas. Multigas is the name of the particular one that I like. So that's my favorite. And it's the one that that works, in my opinion, that works best. There are some others that have really great marketing. They are not as effective. So I would stay away from Molecule. Don't tell anybody I said that. May I ask your opinion on hypochlorous acid? Until COVID, for some reason, I never ever heard of this as a cleaning agent. It almost sounds too chemical-like, unnatural, and potentially not effective versus hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol. So I am not familiar with hypochlorous acid. We use hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol, lemon and vinegar. And so that is what we've used. I just don't know enough to say about that one. How much time per week does the at-home course take, the live course? Great question, Barbara. So really, this is up to you. So it's like anything else in life, right? The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And it kind of depends on where you're starting, right? So if you need a lot to change, if you haven't started doing any of this, then it might take more time. There's going to be some weeks that maybe take more time than others. People are very excited about keto, and I mean, rightfully so, because they get so much out of it. So sometimes that week is maybe you're spending a little bit more time in the kitchen. It really depends, but I would plan to spend certainly the hour that we're on the call, spend that time together, and then about an hour or two preparing or kind of processing and implementing the things on the other end. Now, really, this becomes a lifestyle. So it's like, how much time does it take? It takes all day, every day, because you're living it. And it's what really is challenging, I think, for most people, is making the change. And that's why that community is so helpful in terms of inspiring you, and then getting the questions that you don't realize you have answered is so helpful. So I hope that answered your question, Barbara. Rebecca is asking, should we have started the keto diet and have appropriate testing done prior to the class, like mold testing, heavy metal toxicity testing, etc.? So you certainly can, Rebecca. That is helpful, and you'll probably get a little bit more out of the course having done that. However, you do not have to. Don't feel like that's a prerequisite. So certainly there are people who have never gotten into ketosis who get tons of benefit from the class. There are people who have never done mold testing who get tons of benefit. And we're going to be talking through it. So you can, get the mold testing done the week before we have that class. We can talk about that. And then you are welcome to ask questions, specific to your results. So that's a great way to get more out of it, but do not feel like you need to. And you'll learn from other people, because other people will have had mold testing done. And so we'll review what their results look like. That will help you know how to interpret your own, even if you get them at a later date. And then also, once you're in the club, you're in the club. So don't feel like you won't be, after the 12 weeks are over, you're not just like sent along on your own. You'll be able to get access to my team, to me, and then the Facebook group, of course, indefinitely. And then also we invite people to come back for the live coaching calls, because now they've graduated. And so they have so much experience and so much wisdom to share with the new recruits in the new class. So we're looking forward to having them there for you all to benefit from. And you won't be left on your own adrift. You're in the club. Is there a benefit to using PEMF devices? Okay, great question. So Dr. Bill Pollock is somebody who I know from the Summit community, and he talks a lot about PEMF. And so you may have seen some of his information on a Summit. He's interviewed on a lot of them, and he's really who I turn to. And certainly he has a long laundry list of ways that PEMF devices can be beneficial. So yeah, I would say yes. Now there are nuances. I think he has a book called like The Power Tools of Health or something. I love it. So manly. But he knows so much more than I do. And I would defer to him about how to use it, which one to get, that kind of stuff. Okay, someone purchased the Marama at Home program during the summit. Great, wonderful. I printed out the worksheets. Are there videos that go with that? Okay, so Miriam, would you mind grabbing Jan's email there? And making sure that we get her access and that loop is closed. I want to make sure, Jan, that you have a really good idea of how to access that course, because yes, there are videos that go with all of the worksheets. So it's through Kajabi, and there's a login that you'll have. And if you purchase the course through the summit, then you have access to that. Anybody who's already purchased the Marama at Home course, then now if you want to do the coaching, it's discounted by $497. So you don't have to pay for the course twice. If you already own the course, whether you bought it through the summit or you bought it after the summit, you have access to that discount. So just let us know, and then we'll go in and confirm all that. Briotech is a hypochlorous acid product commonly recommended by some natural doctors. Yeah, I'm not a natural doctor who recommends it, and so I'm just not familiar with it. Maureen, we are a group of 5 who want to help aging parents and be preventive. Can a group of mostly family join as one? Is there a group price? Oh, this is a wonderful question I haven't gotten yet. The answer is yes. I don't know how to work that out quite yet, but absolutely. Yes. I'm so excited to have a group, like community. This is what makes everything possible, is having that group. So Maureen, I'm just like delighted to get this question. And why don't we, Miriam, if you can get Maureen's email address, let's start an email thread and let's figure out how to make that make sense for everyone. I'm so excited to have a group like that. I mean, we're going to learn so much from each other. So this will be fantastic. Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. Wonderful. All right. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A, and my daughter is going to be home any moment. Yeah, I love this idea. Okay. And Miriam, Jan's email is in the Q&A, which you should be able to see. If not, then okay, got it. All right. Yeah. So Jan, if you could send that email, and then what I'm going to do is grab it from the Q&A real quick as well, and make sure that we have that. Okay, you should have that now. All right. Oh, there's more questions. Okay, I'm going to get at least one more. What stationary and on-person products do you believe provide true protection from EMF that seems to be everywhere? Okay, yeah. Okay, so people who have sensitivities to EMF typically have other things going on. They have toxic burden. They have, something else is happening that's making you sensitive to EMF. Now, that being said, EMFs are not good for anybody, but you cannot avoid them. It's kind of like freeway chemicals, right? You just can't avoid them unless you are out in the boonies. And so EMFs, the way that I think about it, it's like rain. Like if you have an umbrella, you can prevent yourself from getting wet. But if you have a coin and you try to prevent yourself from getting wet in the rain, it's not going to work very well. So EMFs are the same thing. You need a shield. So copper works. Copper is helpful. There are people who get a shield to go around their bed at night, and then you can at least have be out of, EMF exposure while you're sleeping. That often helps people with their sleep. That's a way to do it. And it'll also not only get EMFs, but radio frequencies, RF, can also inhibit good high quality sleep. So, getting those, there's one, maybe somebody who's still on the call remembers what it's called, but it's it's like a shield. It's like a canopy shield kind of thing where you close it and I think you tie it together or zip it down, and you're in it. Sometimes it's hot and stuffy, but you are fully protected from all EMF and all RF. And so the EMF, anybody who's selling like a little thing that you put in your phone case, it doesn't work like that. Think of it like a rain, it's like rain coming down, but it's coming from all directions. So if you're not in like a Faraday cage, you're exposed. And so minimizing it by turning off your router at night, putting things in airplane mode, not sleeping with a phone in the bedroom. There are certainly things that you can do to reduce it. And then my biggest question is, what else is going on that's making you so susceptible and sensitive? There's something else happening. And so I would want to know what that is. From Anna, my husband was tested and has high mycotoxin levels. Ermi came back with high mold levels. I removed the carpet with mold. Now I'm trying to make sure it's all good, but mold inspection air samples did not show any mold. That's great news. I'm so confused about what to do next. Not even sure I need the air filter because there were no spores. Yeah, good question. So there might still be mycotoxins present, even if there's not mold. And it's really hard to say. But what you might want to do, Anna, and what I recommend people do kind of in that situation is continue testing his mycotoxin levels. I use real-time labs. It's urinary mycotoxins, and I test people every 12 weeks until it's gone. So you want to work with a mold literate doctor, somebody who's been trained by Neil Nathan is what I would recommend. And then watch those mycotoxins go down. If they're going down, you're fine. You don't have to do anything else with your house. You got it. You probably got rid of it with the carpet. If the numbers are going up or if they're not budging, that's when you might want to reinvestigate, maybe repeat the ERMI, or I even use immunolytics, which is much less expensive and easier. It's agar plates, and a Neil Nathan trained doctor can help you with how to do that and help you with interpretation. All right, everyone. It was such a pleasure having you all here tonight. I'm so grateful for your participation and for showing up. I just get so much from this personally and obviously professionally. I just love the groups, and I'm really, really looking forward to having you all in the courses and getting the most from this and sharing your success stories with the next generation behind you, with the next crew behind you. So thank you so much all for joining us. Have a very happy, safe New Year's, and I will look forward to seeing you either at the next webinar on the ketogenic diet or in the group sessions. Take care.